Yeah, I always think like, right, I'm gonna do like 5 years of working, save up, buy a cabin in the woods, create a barn, and then just like make a gym out of it, and then that's it. Like I just disappear. No one knows who I am anymore. I'm like that weird blonde guy that lives in the woods. Like everyone doesn't go near him. You kind of become a bit feral.
That sounds amazing. That to me, if I could just like have a break from people,
Mm.
my cell phone, like social media, all those things, if I could have a break from all that, if even if it was like 3 months of regular life and then 1 month break of just complete isolation, I think I would be overall a healthier individual, mentally, physically, spiritually, all of it. I think that'd be amazing. Just to get away, just get off the grid, exactly like you're talking about.
Mm.
Maybe not like permanently, but
I think
I
everyone
think
needs it, right?
I
Like
know for a fact everyone does.
like we were like nomads. We used to just like wander around this earth and like trying to figure things out and kind of read the stars or whatever. It's and now we've just like settled, try to make a home, like have a mortgage, settle down, go to the 9 to 5, come home, and I'm like, wait, hold on a minute, like what the fuck is this? Like, are we supposed to be doing this?
Is it supposed to be desirable? Like
Mm.
where's the fun? Where's the spontaneity? Where's the adventure? That's what I look for. I love adventure.
Mm.
That's
I went
that's
for I went for like a week-long trip, right? So when I first started here, it's story time. I like stories. So
yeah,
like
I like stories too.
if I get carried away, just tell me to shut the fuck up. Anyway,
No.
I was in Auckland, so north of the North Island, and like I got fired from one job. The other job was I was waiting tables. Like I'd never waited tables in my life. Wasn't the greatest at it, but I'm a hard worker, so that's why I got the job. Anyway, I was like, oh fuck, like I don't know what I'm doing here. Like I don't know why I'm on the other side of the world. I don't know what's going on. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, fuck this. I'm out for a week. Peace. I'll see you later. Like, deleted everything from my phone, got in my car and just drove south. Like, literally packed the bag in 5 minutes, got in the car, filled it up, went down south. I knew I was going to go. So get to the south of the South Island, which is Wellington, which is the capital, take the ferry over to the north of the South Island, and then drive. It's kind of like southwest, place called Queenstown, right? Meant to be this beautiful place, beautiful lake, mountain ranges called the Remarkables, which are remarkable, which is quite ironic. And I was like, okay, that's the end destination. That's where I'm going to go. I don't know how I'm going to get there. I'm just going to go that way. All right. It was incredible. Like whatever they said about it was true. Like I would move there in a heartbeat. It's just fucking expensive. But anyway, I get like 3 or 4 days into like not speaking to a different soul. Like hadn't spoken to anyone. It was just kind of me talking to myself. Like sat on like hills, pulled up on roadsides, sleeping by lakes or whatever, sleeping in the car and like writing things down. And you get into this really, really weird state where like I don't know, you see the world differently.
I imagine.
It's I think everyone needs it.
I think I think we would be a different, I mean, I say society, but a different world, because it's not just society. I mean, society here's, I'm probably a lot different than society there, but I think we would be a completely different world if people were able to just be by themselves and know how to be by themselves. But nobody can. Everybody's got to have their phone. Everybody's got to have social media. Everybody's got to be around people all the time. Like I think people are just incapable or maybe nervous or scared of being by themselves, and that to me is a cool thing. That's when you get to, that's when you like you said, you start to see things for what they are. Like it changes your perspective.
Mm. Yeah, I read something. Did I read it? No, I wrote something down the other day where it was like everybody needs to lose everything to realize they need nothing.
I love that.
And
I love that.
it's like you don't need anything. Like need is a state of dependency, right? You don't need anything. Like you want it. You want to feel a bit comfortable and have these materials or whatever. Like it would be nice. Like you would maybe benefit from it, but you don't need it. Like take everything else away, clothes, people, houses, whatever, like you'll survive. You'll figure it out, you know? Like you don't need anything. And I think yeah, just going like super minimalist. There's some beauty in it.
I agree. I think the simpler your life is, I think the happier you are. I think the more stuff you have, the more clutter you have to fill up your headspace and your time. I think that's when people get so stressed out and so irritated, and all the mental health issues come in, and all that. The simpler, the better, to me,
Mm,
at least.
I agree. I agree. Do you mess around with like any meditating or anything like that?
I I have before. I I'm really kind of this is crazy, but I'm really kind of unclear on what is technically defined as meditation, because I pray all the time. That's something that's important to me, and I try to spend multiple times a day where I set aside time to pray, and I consider that part of my meditation. But just recently, one of my best friends, actually, she told me about, she uses this app called Headspace, and it teaches you how to slow down and breathe and clear your mind. And that's what I've been wanting to delve more into, on top of prayer, of course, but just learning how to slow down and take time to not do or think anything. Not And a lot of people, they'll be like, oh well, I'm scrolling through TikTok, or I'm scrolling through Instagram, I'm not doing anything. Yeah, but there's still that stimulus. There's still that external push from something else to make you see something or believe something or think something, like to completely unplug and like truly just assess yourself. That, I guess, that is what I would define as meditation. And that is what I have been working towards most recently, if that makes
Mm.
sense. That's a long answer for a short question, but
No, I think it totally makes sense. Like it's all individualized. Like it's whatever helps you and whatever you get from it and however you do that, like it's just I think meditation is just finding a state of calm or a state of peace in like in a busy time, or something where you can kind of recenter yourself to what's it within, rather than just focusing on the million and one things you need to do that day or that week. And it can be in any way, right? Like some people just like lie on the floor. You get people that like, yeah, have the whole stereotypical like hum type shit. And I'm like, all right, like, if that does it for you, that does it for you, like some people
whatever
pray,
floats your
like,
boat.
yeah, whatever, like I was in the sauna last night and I try to do it in there, even though other people were around, and that was like really tricky. It took me till like the last 2 minutes to like actually calm down. You know what I mean? Because you're freaking out because of the heat, especially me, because I do well in the cold. And then also like there's other people around and I'm like, we're all half naked, sweating our tits off. And like, I don't know who you are. This is a bit weird. You know what I mean? The concept's a bit strange. So
It is. Hats off to you for being able to meditate around other people. There's zero chances that I would be able to focus enough, like with other people around. I just couldn't do it. So hats off to you.
well, it took me a good number of minutes. You know what I mean? Usually I get in there, I'm like, holy fuck, this is hot. Like I need to like get out of here, blah blah blah. And then I've got to like slow down your breathing. And then when you breathe through your nose, it burns your nostrils. So then you're just like, what's going on? Like, this is not good for me, blah blah blah. And you're like, nah, you just gotta like center yourself, calm down, and then just like block out. Yeah, something that I've tried to do is like I try and do it every morning, right? And if I can't do it in the morning, I'll make time in the evening where I'll try and like shut down all five of my senses.
Mm.
So I'll kind of like, okay, obviously you're gonna close your eyes, right? So I'm gonna close my eyes, and then I'm gonna see black. So you know how you can kind of look like behind your eyelids. Yeah.
And kind of get like light spots and
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'll try and just see complete black, and then I'll be like, right now that noise that you can hear outside, try and not be able to hear it, and then no longer be able to feel the floor that you sat on or whatever. Um, And that's the way I kind of do it.
That sounds amazing. It reminds me of, I don't know if y'all have them over there, but in the States we have these, they're starting to pop up. It's like this new trend or whatever, but they're called sensory deprivation tanks.
Oh yeah.
And you can just go like lay in this tub of water and you don't like, it's completely silent. The water's full of like Epsom salt, and so you're floating the whole time. You don't feel anything, you don't hear anything, you close your eyes, you don't see anything. And they say it's like the best stress relief you can have. Like it just completely revitalizes your mind and your body. And you like pay for like an hour and you just lay there for an hour.
Like I you're gonna probably want to slap me for this, but I got given a free session, right? Because I worked at a gym. Yeah. All right. So they opened up a place like round the corner, and they were like, "Oh, here you go. Like, here's some free sessions for your coaches, blah blah blah." If they would kind of give it a shout out in the classes, and then, but it was at the time that I was kind of like, I was leaving the gym. I was going back home for like 3 weeks, because I was in the south, and I was going back to the north for like 3 weeks, helping my mum pack her house, packing up my shit, which was one suitcase, ironically, and then just like kind of like fucking off. And I never went. So yeah, I know I had a free session. No, I never went.
Do you still have the pass?
It's like, I don't know where it is. Like, it was 2 years ago.
Oh my gosh. What is there a place close to you?
I think so. There'll be one around, like there'll be one at some sort of facility. I keep wanting to try the cryotherapy.
I'll be honest with you. I paid for like, it was like 10 sessions or a month or something at a cryotherapy place. I was not impressed.
I've heard that. I've heard mixed signals, really mixed signals.
Yeah. I didn't feel any kind of benefit to it. I was nursing a shoulder injury at the time, and one of my knees was staying pretty inflamed. So I was like, okay, I'll go do the cryo thing. Everybody talks so highly about it. And I went probably like 6 or 7 times, and I was so disappointed. I was like, I feel it.
I think one of the best things,
it could work for you. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, there's so many different fucking options.
Yes,
so it's like, just
different. Like,
everybody is different.
Different, yeah.
100%. Like, I think the best thing for that type of stuff is like just an ice bath, or sit in the sea or something, in like a cold lake. Like, that will give you as much as you need. Like, have you heard of Wim Hof?
I don't think so.
Basically a Dutch guy that I believe he's Dutch, that has kind of revolutionized cold showers and breathing techniques and all that type of stuff, and how to like control your breath, which then heals the body. And it's fascinating. And you kind of, you look at the science and the sciences behind it, and then you look at kind of testimonials, and it works for them, and then some people try it and it doesn't work, and you're like, well, there you go. Like, it's just figure it out,
it's not for you, so something else is,
Yeah.
But it could work for somebody else.
Exactly. Don't if it doesn't work for, say for example, it doesn't work for me, I'm not going to be like, no, this is shit, don't use it, it's not good, blah blah blah. I'm like, someone else might like it, like yeah, exactly. Have you tried the saunas?
Yes, I love, well, okay, let me back up. I have done both saunas and steam rooms, and I'm more partial to steam rooms because they typically, they use, like the aromatherapy and the essential oils. So it smells really good in there. And then it's like a wet heat instead of that dry heat. So to me, it's probably like a little more enjoyable than a sauna. I'm not a huge fan of a sauna. Anytime I think sauna, it makes me think of like cutting weight, and I'm like, no, not really.
Give me PTSD.
Yeah, right. Like, no thanks. Makes me think of drinking 1,000 gallons of water a week.
Oh, no.
Not my thing. But I love a steam room. Or a hot tub.
Oh,
That's
hot tub.
yeah, I can definitely. Those are like my prime therapies right there.
Like I went to a spa in Eastern Europe one time. Um, and it was like 19 euros, which is about, I don't know, maybe like 25 bucks for you, 25, 30 bucks, right? For like an entire day. You go in, they've got like jacuzzi, hot tub, pools, and then they've got all these like different steam rooms and saunas with like different like eucalyptus in it, like whatever they put in it. You know, it smells a little different, so it helps with different things, right? You just like literally hop in and out, and then they've got like an ice bucket that you pull, and it throws down like 1 degree water on you. Um, like
Oh
it
my
was,
gosh! Right after you get out of a sauna,
yeah, it was good. It was good.
it was good.
Yeah, it was frigging cold.
I bet. I bet.
I don't know how it was like maybe knee high snow outside. So it was, decent snow. And I genuinely believe they just took the water from outside and just poured it on you because it was that cold. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, they just scooped up a bunch of snow and just let it melt a little bit
Yeah.
in a bucket, and then just threw it on you. That sounds
Yeah.
miserable.
It was good though. Like body felt amazing afterwards.
And that's oh gosh, you have to look for that end result, because if you look at me and you're like, oh yeah, okay, you're gonna get to sit in a sauna for 20 minutes, it'll be so nice, you'll be so relaxed, then we're gonna throw this ice cold bucket of water on you, but you'll feel better after. I'll be like, okay, if I have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
That,
Can
do you
you
do
go on?
do you do massage therapy at all?
I'm qualified in it.
What?
Mm.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
that is my
I was talking to my best mate over it yesterday, and I was like, because I've not really used it in like a year and a half. Like because kind of done a million and one jobs. Like I published a book, so that took me a little bit longer. That took a lot of time. Um, so I was just like, yeah, it kind of fell to the wayside a little bit, but I kind of want to get back involved with it because, like anything type of, therapy, whether it's physical training, whether it's massage therapy, whether it's a little bit of manipulation, all that type of stuff. Like, that was my jam for a long time, and I put in a lot of time like learning it and experience and developing through like different body types and blah blah blah, and learning under different people, whether they were an osteopath, whether they were a chiropractor, whether they were a physiotherapist. Like yeah, I spent a lot of time like developing that craft, and I don't know, it's got a bit of taste in my mouth that I'm not really using it. So maybe I'll pick that up. But yes, I
yeah,
do
you
enjoy getting a
should.
massage too. Yes.
Yes, that is pivotal for me. That the first shoulder injury I was talking about was my right shoulder, but now my left shoulder's a mess, and I've been going to get massages pretty regularly, and that's beat the cupping, that's beat the scraping, that's or grafting, whatever you want to call it. The massage has beat all other therapies in terms of getting it better and fixing it.
Like yeah, you can't replicate just someone smashing their elbow into you and beating the
Yeah.
shit out of you. You know what I mean? Like it sounds so sadistic, and it probably is, but at the same time, like, if something's so beat up from the all the kilos like over the years, like you're just gonna need the shit kicking out of it.
And that's me. I don't ever want to go to a massage and like feel good. Like
Yeah.
the end result, I want to feel better, but at the same time, like I want you to completely demolish me for an hour and a half, make me hurt, make me scream, make me cry, whatever you have to do. Because I want to leave here knowing that, something is better, something has been put back in the right spot, something is less knotted up than it was. That's what I want. So yeah, by all means, demolish me, make me hurt. That's massage to me.
Yeah, I'm the same. I am the same. And I also can't give those relaxing massages because I get bored. I'm like,
I've
look,
heard that.
you're paying me to touch you up. Like, this is getting weird. You know what I mean? Like, I'm nah, this is weird, mate. Like, you're an old man. Like, I don't necessarily want to touch you up. You know, I'm supposed to just like rub you down on your back so you can go to sleep. I'm like, I'm not the man for that, mate.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Uh,
I went to one massage therapist, and he referred to himself as a neuromuscular physicist instead of a massage therapist, because he's like, look, I'm not going to you're not going to enjoy this. He's like, this is going to be high pain the whole time. You're going to be working to help me actively release these muscles and all this stuff. He's like, so no, I don't consider myself a massage therapist, which of course he is. That's his trade. But he has trademarked a new name for that. And that to me is more of what it should be.
well, you've got to as well, right? And something that I learned over here is if you are in the rehab realm, like you should call yourself a massage therapist. But if you call yourself a masseuse, that is the other realm. So like prostitution over here is legal.
Really?
Obviously, you just have to like declare it and pay tax on it. Like it's a legal profession. So if you call yourself a masseuse, they think they're getting a happy ending.
It's funny because the first time, it might not have been the first time, but one of the first few times I went and got a massage, I messed up and referred to the massage therapist as a masseuse. And they were like, sweetie, come here. Let me explain something to you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't mean that. I'm so sorry. Like instantly offended them. I was like, great.
Yeah, I didn't pay for that package. No.
Yeah, it's important to know the difference in those two.
Yeah, like hugely. I was like, oh, okay. Understood. Like I won't definitely won't call myself that. I usually call myself like a therapist anyway. Like it's or someone that I don't know. I don't labels piss me off, because I think people like the brain like kind of hijacks it itself and it's just like, right, I'm gonna play to this label now. Like you can even go deep and say if for the past 10 years, if someone's called you dumb, like you're gonna think you're dumb. Or if someone's called you clever, you're gonna think you're clever, right? Yeah, it's labeling.
Label. Yeah.
So at the same time, I don't want to be like, like I don't want this label. Like I don't think I'm just a masseuse or a massage therapist, It's like, nah, there's a couple more things like I know. And that one time, like a lady came in who was a member and basically we're doing like a gymnastics class, right? And I weren't there. And she kicked up into a handstand and someone didn't catch her. So she went ass over tit and just fell straight on a thoracic, right?
Oh no.
And inevitably a thoracic just locked up, like absolutely just wouldn't move. She couldn't move her fucking neck either. Like everything was just jolted. So it's like, hey, blah, 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 blah. So I just like kind of manipulated a T-spine a little bit and you literally got it right from the top to the bottom. Like, what's it called? Bubble wrap.
Oh my gosh.
And then this lady could literally just like rotate, twist, flex, extend. Like she was spot on. And I'm like, look, you're not going to get that from a body massage parlor, so I don't necessarily want to give myself that name. I think I know a couple more things than that.
Good for you. I love that. I appreciate your confidence.
Confidence, yeah. I guess you can call it confidence. Like a lot of it's like just kind of respecting the work you put in yourself. And then I've been really grateful to have a lot of cool people to work around and work underneath, and we've had a lot of good conversations. And then I've been working on this craft for like close to 10 years, so I would hope to know I know a couple things by then.
I love that.
Well,
I love
choose your path. You choose your path, which is it's dead weird again, which is like kind of comparing it over to writing a book, right? You kind of go from coaching, everything's in the physical realm, blah 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 blah, to now writing words on a page. Like, are you mad? Like, what's going on? Like, this is someone else's like field, you know? Like, this is not who you're supposed to be, which is why I don't like labels again, because I'm like, well, why can't I do it? You know what I mean? Why not?
And so you did, right? So what was your book about? What did you write about?
Oh, it's poetry.
Poetry.
Mm.
That's even more impressive.
So it's yeah, I'll get a book out. There you go.
Let's see. When time seemed dark. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it's poetry about mental health.
That is incredible.
Thank you.
And you're published.
Yeah.
Oh,
Self-published, like, you know, whether it gets taken on by a publisher or not, who knows? Like, I don't expect anyone to, one, know who I am, or two, give a shit, you know? There's a lot of people in the world, so, well, it is what it is. Like I was having a conversation with, because I've written a second one, which is something completely different, kind of completely different in the same realm, but it's going to be like a children's book. And then I'm writing a second one of these, but that's going to be a bit different again. It's going to be bigger. There's going to be like one a day for a year. So that's
like a devotional.
yeah. So it's like something that you can pick up, you know, you're not going to sit down and read it cover to cover. You're just going to pick it up every day and kind of like read one thing, and it's going to spark a little bit of thought, you know. Some of it will be dark, some of it will be a bit happy, some of it, it's like, you know, it's kind of collection, you know.
It's like life. It's a mix.
It's life. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was talking to the illustrator the other day, and she was like, "Oh, are you going to get it published?" I was like, well, yeah, ideally, you know, someone takes up and was like, yeah, this is kind of cool. I'll like make it into a tangible item. But at the same time, like, if no one does that, what am I gonna do? Like, sit around and go, oh, okay, that doesn't come into fruition. Like, nah, just go fucking do it. And if it turns into something, it turns into something. If it doesn't, I've got a copy of something that I created, which is kind of cool. And hopefully it sits on my mom's shelf too.
That's so cool. And you know, I don't know a whole lot about this, and I have really no basis for what I'm about to tell you, but you can self-publish on Amazon. They'll give you an ISBN number and, you know, your publishing rights and all of that. You can self-publish and then sell on Amazon. I don't know if that's really what you're looking for, but that's always an option.
Yeah, it's on there.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Hey. Wow. Okay, so you're way ahead of the game.
I wouldn't say that. Like, holy shit, it took a lot out of me last year. Like, the book took me 6 years to publish, 6 years to write, sorry. And then you have to format it in different ways. And I formatted it about 6 different times because, you know, something was wrong or whatever. And that I didn't have a clue what I was doing. That's kind of my life. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just like figuring this shit out. And then, yeah, I was like, I had to get the cover done by a good mate of mine in Auckland that I met. And then, like, it was kind of like a little bit off center. So we had to like kind of, they call it bleeding it. So it kind of like goes around the side of the book. Yeah, goddamn. And then other people ordered it and I hadn't got my author copies. You know what I mean? So I was like, well, I ordered and made this book and other people have got it before me. I was like, this is shit.
Oh my gosh, I'd be so upset. I'd be like, no, I need to read through it. I need to check it. I need to make sure everything's perfect.
It's funny though, right? Because I can't, like, a lot of the shit in there, like, I can't remember it.
Really?
Yeah, like, I got a really bad memory. Like over 10 concussions I had playing rugby. So my memory is is really bad. Yeah, and then you also go down both family trees, and they like both sides have Alzheimer's. So I'm kind of fucked.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Maybe not, right? But I don't think the concussions helped. But it is
Probably
what it
not.
is, you know. Again, I'll be like crazy guy in the woods. Be like, he doesn't know anything. I like, oh, what's his name? Terry Pratchett. He, do you know Terry Pratchett?
I don't think so.
Oh, basically, I've never read any of his shit, but he'd written like a million different books in the same universe, right? And apparently, when he got Alzheimer's, he couldn't remember anything apart from part of his world that he created. Like he could still kind of remember that. So he like then lived within the world that he created with his books. And I think that's
amazing.
yeah, like how the human brain works, right? So maybe I'm going to be that crazy guy that only speaks in like rhymes.
That would be cool. That would be your thing.
Yeah, maybe. It's like, don't go down there. Crazy guy rhyming.
Hey, it doesn't sound too bad.
Sounds all right, right?
Yeah, it doesn't sound too bad.
People leave you alone. Sounds cool.
Yeah, you get to do your own thing all the time.
Yeah, easy.
Sounds fantastic.
All I need is my little cat, who might end up joining.
Oh,
She
you have a
usually, yeah, she's like it's the morning time, so she likes to, go out and scout around and kind of see the morning rise, and then she'll come back in and have a nap. But she usually hears me talking and wants to come say hello.
I love that. I love that. I'm out here. Let me see. This is our family dog,
Oh,
but she's actually blind. She did not start off that way, but she has a degenerative disease with her eyes, so she can't see anymore. But she's sweet. She's lazy, but she's sweet.
I mean, she's blind. Like, I think she's okay to be lazy.
You're right. I should probably cut her a little slack.
Like, you
Maybe.
can't exactly like launch the ball in the woods for her. Like, it might take a while to find it.
She's actually done remarkably well. I think it's been just over a year since she started going blind, and she can get around the whole house. She can get around the deck. She can get around the outside of the house. Like
Wow.
she's learned where everything is. Sometimes she'll still like bump into stuff, but for the most part, she's adapted really quickly.
That's fascinating.
It really kind of is.
They're the smart ones. Like, animals
Really,
are the smart ones. We're the dumb animal on the planet.
I believe that. I really do.
Like, I think every animal has a sixth sense, right? Like that intuition, that kind of like feeling, whether it's feeling energy or whatever you believe, right? It doesn't necessarily matter. It's a sixth sense. But we now like rely on like verbal communication like we're doing now, or written or visual. We've kind of like tapped into those other senses, and completely ignored the sixth one. Yet animals, right, our pets, they just know. And you're like, how the hell do you know? Like, because you can't read that, or you can't understand what I'm saying. Like, how do you know that? So it's funny.
They're amazing. They're like, just like different studies people have done about like how many words they can learn in English. Like they're learning English words and responding to them and whatnot, and how they can sense the weather, and they can sense like a kind of like you're talking about the intuition, just like knowing when they're in danger and stuff like that. It's incredible. It's incredible. It makes me feel inferior.
Yeah, I mean they are the better ones, like and I do believe they do understand what we're saying.
I do too.
Like they hear like
I do too.
the inflection on your tone, and kind of like they'll sense different people, and they'll also like kind of judge how you change like body language, and also like how you sound towards other people, to know if they're like friends or foes, or yeah, they're so smart, yet we're dumb.
We are. Just like you said, we rely so much on what we can see and touch, like the what's immediately in front of us, that I think we have lost a lot as, I guess, as humanity. We've lost a lot of our edge.
I mean, we rely on media, right, to tell us what's right and wrong. So we rely on this like thing in the clouds that someone is plugged into that has a bias from some like an investor or whatever. They just put a lot of money in, because if they're investing in a network, they're going to want their point of view going across. Let's be honest. Yet we don't see like a friggin' animal media that's just like, oh, attention, all dogs, all cats, like this is what's happening in the world. It's like, nah, they just figure it out, man. Like they just look around and be like, all right, this is how the world works. This is what's going on. There's a storm coming. I can smell it, rather than be like, oh no, what's Sharon saying on the bloody media?
And they're better for it. I think our dependence on media in all forms, not just like social media or the news, but like in all forms, our dependence on that for someone else to tell us what we believe and why. I think that's why we're so regressive. And I think that's why we can't get anything figured out, like collectively. I mean, it's sad.
Well, we've lost the self kind of figuring out process, haven't we? Like working it out for yourself. Like we don't have that no more. It's like, all right, what do I read, and then that's what I know, or what do I watch, and then that's what I know. It's like, well, what about the problem solving? Like, where does that come into it? What is your own mind? What do you believe? Because that's cool, man. Like you can believe whatever the hell you want. Like obviously, if it's not invoking violence or hate, then that's freedom of speech. Do what you want. Like, but nah, like it's keeping up with the Joneses. It's oh no, like Tom down the road is Christian, I'm going to be Christian, or like the media's telling me this, I'm going to go do this. And I'm like, look, do whatever you want, man. Just do whatever you want.
But do it because that's what you want, not because someone told you to, or because you think you should. Do it because it's what is best for you. It's what you believe. It's what you have looked at, broken down, researched, educated yourself on, and you say, you know what, this is what I believe. This is why. Not because, oh, well, ABC News, they told me to believe this, so I do. Or, oh, this celebrity believes this, so I do too. There's no credit or merit to that. It's sad.
It's also like you can flip it on the other side as well, right? So it's like accepting people's differences and being able to have a very neutral conversation where I bring my side to the table, you bring your side to the table, and like both sides are neither right nor wrong. It's like that's really cool. Like, and now I understand a different side a lot better. I think that's the whole problem between like male and females, because there is no like neutral conversation. It's already it's got a lot of prejudice, like whether a male brings aggression to the table or a female brings like a closed mind to the table, or the other way around. Obviously it can happen both ways. Like I think a lot of problems stem from ignorance, and a lot of problems stem from an unwillingness to communicate openly, and hence why I started this podcast, just talking, having conversations, like everything. Yeah, it was a weird story though. Like I thought about doing it like 4 years before I started. I was like, I should do a podcast. I chat a lot of shit, and some of it maybe might have a couple of gems in it, like, but a lot of it will be a lot of shit. I was like, nah, I won't. And then like, a year or two goes by, and I'm driving home from working in London, and I was living in a city about an hour and a half away. So I'd get back like dead late, maybe midnight, 1 a.m. or something like that. And I'd be driving back in this like sleep deprived state, and I would just start talking to myself for like an hour and a half. And like, as you do, like putting the world to rights, like, oh, I know why the world is in such disarray. I know I can do this. Like, like I got no idea what I'm saying. I'm only blonde, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm like, I'd like to have a conversation about with people. Maybe they can tell me I'm full of shit, or maybe they're gonna say, hey, yeah, you're onto something. And I just kind of like, before I came over here, maybe a month or two, I was like, fuck it. I bought a mic and started talking to myself and recording it, which sounded, it sounds really weird, and still sounds really weird. Like if I hear myself talk, like it's weird, right? Listening to yourself, it's strange. It's not what
Your
normal
own
people.
voice.
What, but what is normal, And then I was just like, oh hey, want to have a conversation? A lot of people would say
I
no. I'd
love
be like, cool.
Cool. Well, I guess we won't. No, I love that, and I love the premise behind what you're doing, because what you provide, just doing this, just in having an open, casual, normal, non-heated, non-aggressive conversation, what you provide to people is perspective. And that is something, to me anyway, and in my immediate world, it seems like that's what most people lack. We only have our perspective. We only look at the world the way we see it. And that is how we base our decisions, our conversations, our relationships. Everything is based off of that. And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. It limits us as people. It limits our growth as individuals, because if I can have a conversation with you, just like you said in your example with the man and the woman coming together and having a neutral conversation, if you can express to me your perspective and your worldview, and I can have the open mind and the open heart to say, okay, I see that, I understand that, I get that. Now I've grown as a person. I've grown mentally and emotionally to be able to say, okay, it's not just the way I see the world. He sees it some way different. She sees it some way different. There's if we had more perspective as people, as individuals, I don't think there'd be near as much hate and animosity and just all this disgusting issues that we're having in culture right now. I think perspective and like you said, just an open mind is what makes the difference there. So I appreciate what you're doing. I think this is cool. I think it's progressive, helpful.
No, that's stunning, and just being able to, just having like those open conversations, like you say, and like things can get passionate, Like I'll usually in person, it can get into whatever, and like I'm northern, right? I'm from the north, and we get passionate about things, and voice kind of gets a little louder, and I F and Jeff all the time, and whatever. That's who I am. People aren't the same. Fuck them. Whatever. But at the same time, it's like, all right, this is just passion. Like, this isn't like, oh, nah, you're wrong type stuff. It's like, no. Like people, people just get passionate about things, and that's fine. Like, we can all have a hug at the end of it and be like, I really grew from that. You know what I mean? Like I coach someone who, I coach both of them, the husband and the wife, and they're both vegan, right? But at the same time, like we've had a couple of like really heated debates. And when I say heated, is like we both get passionate. And it wasn't just like, nah, you're wrong because you don't eat meat, or you're wrong because you do eat meat, or whatever. It was just like, what's your side, and what's your view on like protests regarding it, and a little bit of like extremes on both sides. And then I'll say my side or my perspective of both sides, and then we can both learn from it, right? And it's hard. And I actually recorded something yesterday, which is really weird because it touched on what you said with like perspective, right? And I think the hard thing is relating it back into yourself. So most of the things that you hate in the world usually is because it's yourself, or you do it, or part of you wants to do it and you kind of suppress it, or whatever, like I think a lot of times like you can figure a lot of things out by figuring out yourself. And I read a quote.
Yes.
Yeah. And I read a quote the other week saying only people who are hurting hurt other people. And it sounds really, I don't know, it sounds really hard to hear. And you're like, oh, and then you start thinking, did I hurt that person? No, I didn't because I was blah, blah, blah. I was only me. But then you only see in your perspective and you're like, shit, okay, let me walk a mile in their shoes. Let me get inside their head. You're like, okay, maybe I did. And you're like, right, well, why did that happen? Oh, because I built a wall or shielded them out because of this. Then why did you do that? Blah, 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 blah. And you kind of like go back. And yeah, it's hard.
It is. Our first inclination is to justify our actions and to defend ourselves, like, oh no, I did this because this person did this to me, or I said this because they said something hurtful to me. I was just defending myself. I was in the right to do what I did. When, just like you said, if you just step back and you follow your own trail, you're standing at this point on your journey, on your walk, however, on your life, however you want to put it. You're standing at this point. But if you look back and you retrace all your steps and you say, oh, okay, this is why I act this way, this is why I say the things I do, then that's when you can grow and you can say, okay, you know what? Maybe I'm not quite as justified in what I'm doing as I think, or maybe I'm not quite as put together as I think. That's when growth happens, when you can have that self-assessment and when you can say, you know what? I got work to do on myself.
I think that's the journey, right? That's the ongoing journey. Like it's not a destination. Like I think it was Buddha that said, happiness is the journey, not the destination. And I think there is little nuggets of wisdom and beauty in like all religions, all people, all places, all like ways of life, like everything. You can take the good from everything and kind of become this like man or woman of the world, like again, I've had a conversation with my good mate over here, and he's from Scotland, right? So we also had very similar upbringings, so we talk about some things that other people might not understand fully, just because of the cultural differences or whatever, and we'll kind of try and dissect it and think of a way of getting over it, and putting things to bed. But anyway, he was like, yeah, you kind of like learn your way through life and then you kind of become a man with no flag. And I really like that term. Like you are now a man of the world or a woman of the world, or a person of the world, whatever you identify as, just someone of the world, rather than, no, I'm English, or I am American, or I am Swahili or whatever. I'm like, yeah, you can be patriotic. Like that's awesome. And you care. Like my home is always going to be Manchester, but at the same time, like there's a reason why you leave.
Of course. Yes. I'm so glad to hear you say that, because so many people that are in my immediate network, like the people that I'm seeing on a daily basis, so many of them are just so content to stay within the American culture. Like just to stay, oh, you know what? This is all I need. Never going to leave. Don't want to go anywhere. And I think there's something so cool and so beautiful about other cultures, about other ways of life, about other sides of the world. I mean, that's so cool. And why would you not want to be a part of that? But like you said, by all means, I believe in patriotism. I believe you should love your country and you should support your country and you should fight for your country. I believe that everybody, not just Americans, not just the English, it's everybody. You should have that love and respect for your country. But at the same time, that doesn't mean your country is any better than the rest of them. Everybody has something special that you can learn from, that you can gain, that you can add to yourself. And there's something so cool about being cultured. There's something so unique about experiencing the world. And I just don't understand why anyone would want to limit themselves to that.
I think the whole concept of countries is strange. Like I like you think about it and you're like, we split up land. I'm like, why? And then we govern it in different ways. And I'm like, well, why? Like, it's just like land, there is no definitive, apart from continents, like there is no separation, like it's just like this piece of dirt and that piece of dirt. And I'm supposed to act in a different way because I'm born on this side of the line and you're born on that one. Like it doesn't make any sense. And then going through, it's bizarre, right?
Yeah.
And then you throw in hate in there, and you're like, oh, I'm supposed to hate you now because you're born on that side of the line and I'm on this one. I'm like, now that's just even more mind-boggling. I'm like, why? What happens if I was born on that side of the line? Oh, then you'd have to love her. I'm like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that it's like saying because you wear a blue t-shirt, you have to think this. Like there's no foundation, there's no basis for that. Like it makes no logical sense.
Hmm. Sometimes
Just
things don't have a category, right? They shouldn't have a label or a name, or they shouldn't be placed inside of a box, because there's four walls and inside not a lot, which is actually, I think that's a line I've written in a poem somewhere. I think that's kind of rang a bell. But yeah, going back to the cultures, like you learn so much, and you also can tell some really cool stories. I've always found it fascinating being like a granddad in a rocking chair by the fire, telling like some wicked stories. You know what I mean? And we're only here once. Or if you believe in reincarnation, that's cool. But can you remember your last life? No. So right now you're only here once in this physical thing that we call a body. So you might as well be able to tell a wicked story.
that's 100% how I think. My goal, there's this poem, you might actually appreciate it. I'll have to send it to you on Instagram because it's really long and I can't remember everything, but it talks, the lady that wrote it, she said, I want a life that sizzles and pops. She's like, I want to experience all the, that's the premise of it. She wants to experience everything. Like I want a life that's full of experiences.
Mhm.
Like we talked about earlier, going, living, buying a house, paying your mortgage, going 9 to 5, that's not life. That's such a limited experience. And I just want them all. Like I want to be able to say, oh, when I was in this country, I did this and I got to see this. And I've been to the 7 world wonders and, all these things. Like I don't understand how anybody couldn't want that. Like I don't understand why everybody doesn't want to just live. It's crazy to me. I want it all.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are scared. I think people find comfort in security, and then are also, we're bred to think certain things and live a certain way. But like, it's really weird, right? Because a lot of the time, your stabilizers need to fall off for you to figure it out, and you need to fall off your bike to be able to figure it out, right? So whenever life kicks you in the face, and makes you think, oh, what if I got left? You know what I mean? Like everything else is kind of falling around me. You kind of start seeing life from a different angle, and you're like, right, okay, well, without this time, you can't appreciate the good times. So without shit, there's no good. All right, without the night, there's no day. Like the opposites, the pendulum of life is like that's what it is. That's the point. And I always relate things back to the sea because we can't beat it. Like the ocean is an unstoppable force. We just cannot beat it. Like it comes in and goes out twice a day. No matter what, it will go in and come out twice a day.
Without fail.
Um, and even sometimes, shit gets really, really tough. I'll go to the beach, which is like 20 minutes away, probably less than like 15 minutes away. And I'll draw a line in the sand, right, with my foot and kind of just dig a little hole as like a little trench. And I'll just wait, and the sea will just come back in, and we'll just take it back. We'll just swallow up that little trench. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, so like if I wait long enough, it just disappears and it doesn't matter anymore. It just kind of falls back into one. It falls back into the ocean. You're just like, oh. So if you like endure long enough, whatever you're going through will no longer matter. Like you will pass through the storm. Like the only way to weather the storm is to go through the fucking middle of it. And people don't appreciate it. Like those times are probably the best times of your life. you know, that journey in the car where I was a nomad and just literally slept in my passenger seat and didn't speak to anyone, and I stank because I didn't shower for like 4 days. Which was, well, I didn't really care, but you know, other people, if they would have been able to smell, we would have like, dude, get in a lake or something. Yeah, like that was a really difficult time. You know, you kind of reach a crossroad and you're like, I don't know whether to go left or right. But hey, I'm not going to take left or right. I'm going to go straight through the fucking middle, and I'm going to walk through the woods and the journey, the path unpaved. You know, I'm just going to like figure this thing out. And those times you'll end up looking back on, you're like, holy shit, like I learned so much. And people don't appreciate it. You know, they want to sit in that comfort zone, which is great. I mean, do it. That's fine. But at the same time, there's a reason why human beings have midlife crises or crises, whatever the plural is. English ain't my
One of
forte.
my favorite, do it.
English ain't my forte.
Honestly, me either, and it's my first language. But one of my favorite quotes is, "A ship is safe in the harbor, but that's not what it's made for."
Yeah.
And you know, that to me is a comfort zone. You know, we're fortunate to find them, and sometimes you need that comfort zone to rebuild, to figure things out. Sometimes you need that safe space, but at the same time, like, sometimes you got to get out there. You got to figure it out, just like you did. Have you wrote about this like nomadic journey in your car? Have you read a book about that?
That's gonna be no, I haven't. Like
I think you need to write a book about
it's
that.
made a wicked story. Like I wrote like about 30 to 40 poems over that week. Yeah, I climbed to the top of a mountain, which is one of the biggest mountains in the country. Kind of sat there and thought about life, you know. It was really cool. Like it makes a good story. It means I can tell a pretty cool story around a campfire. But yeah, like I'm gearing up. I'm thinking about. I'm trying to figure out when the next time is I can just like fuck off the grid and you know drop off. But unfortunately, some things need me at the moment. You know, like work wise, and I have the kitty, so I've got to make sure she's okay. You know, maybe I'll take her with me.
She would love it. I bet she'd love it.
She doesn't like the car, but she is obsessed with me. We are best mates. So
I love that.
yeah, we literally are best mates. Yeah.
It sounds to me, I mean, just in the time we've talked, we've already set like two great goals for you. Like you're gonna get back into your massage therapy and your rehab and you know your wellness, and then and now you're gonna write a book. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm setting all these goals for you. I'm excited for you. I think it's great.
Thanks. Yeah, a book's like a legacy, right? And I don't mean a legacy so like people like see you as like Marcus Aurelius or Julius Caesar or some shit. Um, but I mean like something that you can just pass on to like your kids or your mates' kids, like if you don't have them or can't have them or whatever, or like someone that kind of knew you and be like, well, here's a story or two and take it or leave it. Like if you like it, wicked. If you don't, wicked. Like don't worry about it. But it is a story etched in time that will stand the test of time. You know, you kind of become immortal with your story. Like and I think the whole yeah, it's weird. Like the way I kind of see the world is kind of different than most people, but that's because I do drop off the grid and kind of sit on a mountain and just be like, well, what is life?
But the cool thing is, just like you said, you see the world different than most people. And I love that. I wish this is truth right here. Okay. I wish more people saw the world like you. I can't imagine what a world would look like with people who just stepped back and noticed, just like stepped back and paid attention, instead of always asserting their own agenda, instead of like, always having to be right or always having to think this and no one else can have an opinion but mine. I can't imagine what a world would be like that thought like you.
I don't know. I think it's really hard to not let your past shape your present and how you think about things. And that's fucked me up for a long time. Like, whether I liked it or not, with certain people, I had prejudice. Like, if, for example, I didn't come from like the greatest of places, and didn't have two pennies to rub together. So if someone had money, I'll be like, "Oh, you're an asshole." I'll be like, "Well, how do I know that? That's just jealousy. That's that's not right." And you have to go through those times, like being able to think about it and be like, "Oh, okay, like I just completely judged the book by its cover there, and that wasn't fair." And I don't know, you've got to fuck up a lot of times to realize what not to do, so then you know what to do. And I think failing is one of the greatest teachers ever. I think people need to literally chuck themselves in the deep end. You're either going to sink or swim. And if you like living, you'll swim. You'll find a way. Um, and
I love
yeah,
that.
well,
I love that. I love your mind. I do.
well, that's how I learned to swim. Is
Really?
Yeah, my mum just like sit
I
on
love your mom.
sit on the side of the pool, son. Okay, Doosh. Kick me in. All right, figure it out.
That's
No,
awesome.
obviously, like came in with me, but yeah, I was a swimmer for a while as well. I actually didn't want to swim. I didn't want to learn how to swim. I was petrified of the water. And then I got chucked in and had to figure it out. And then I ended up doing it as a sport for like 7 years. Ironic.
Oh my gosh. If you don't have enough experience to write 5 books, I don't know who does. Like you just I'm for real. I really your perspective and your outlook on life is refreshing.
I think yeah, I don't know, like it's a journey, right? It's ongoing and things will change. And I think that's the one of the beauties of this thing, right? Of this like recording this conversation, because this conversation will stay with us for as long as we can remember it, right?
Of course.
But at the same time, we can go back and be like, oh, what were we thinking on the 29th of April 2021? And then you can kind of be like, oh, okay, how have I progressed and why? What experiences have I had between those times? And you learn from it. And yeah, everything's a journey, and just figure it out.
It makes me feel like I need to start like journaling. Makes me need to feel like I need to, I don't know, just so I can progress check along my life. Like you said, we can look back to this and we can go, oh, I thought this then. What do I think now? And makes me feel like, hey, I need to write some things down.
That's all that poetry is for me. Like there was a quote that it was like Read New Zealand was one of the governing bodies that gets people over here into literature and reading and English and trying to increase the literacy rate and all that type of stuff. And they kind of like quoted me on like a conversation we had, and I didn't necessarily knew I said it, but it kind of like absolutely pinpointed what it was like. And like all this stuff, like I've got like pieces of paper everywhere with like things jotted down, and like some of them are half finished. Like I've got one on like 6, 7 different sticky notes, which like is finished, but I've not like written it down in the book yet or done a spoken poetry about it, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of them used to just get burnt. Like it's just emotion, right? And I just harness the emotion and whatever the fuck's going on in my head, put it into a couple rhymes, and then I just used to burn them. I'd be like, all right, that's done, blah blah blah, burnt them, and binned them or burnt them. And my mum asked me, she was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just like, I think it's poems. Like I don't really know. Like I don't read it. Like I don't read poetry. Like I don't really know what's going on. She's like, why are you burning them? I was like, because it's done. It's over. It's out of it. It's like, no, you got to keep these. Like, maybe you like them. I was like, who cares if I like them or not? It's just like emotion and pain and whatever. And then my fucking brother, he told me, he was like, dude, like some of these are all right. And someone might be able to relate to this. So maybe make a book. And anyway, 6 years later, I keep on scribbling shit down. And I think a month before I published, I was like, all right, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make this book, blah, blah, blah. There's about 5 people on the planet that knew I was writing, and everyone else had no clue. And I just turned around and was like, hey, I'm a fitness coach and coached a few things, I wrote a book about poetry, about mental health. They're like, what the fuck? I was like, yeah, it's taken me a while. Hope you like it, type stuff. And yeah, all it is just figuring out emotion. It's like my type of journaling, I guess. Like I do it every day. I write at least one every day. But the whole process of burning it back in the day was the whole thing of like, okay, you've harnessed that emotion, you've like progressed from it, but now it doesn't mean anything. You can't rest on your past and just be like, oh, okay, like I did really well in the past, so I'm a good person. It's like, no, because you could be an asshole now. And it's like, well, burn that. That's gone. Like when I'm done with my diary for the year, like it, and I don't need anything from it, or I've done a programming book or whatever, I just burn them. And I'm like, well, you can't rest on last year. Like this, all you have is like today. Let's figure it out. Let's go forward type stuff, which probably isn't the wisest of ideas because of my memory. But at the same time, it's just kind of how I work.
But it's progressive thinking. You're always pushing to be the better self. You're always like you're looking at your past and you're saying, yep, okay, I experienced this. Now I've dealt with it. I've felt it through, and now I'm gonna move forward and learn from it. I'm just like we were talking about with history. We don't learn from history, but you're learning from your personal history. You're saying, you know what? Yep, dealt with it. Now we're moving forward in a positive direction. Things are, and you're using that to your benefit. That's incredible.
Like it's a daily task. I'm not gonna lie. Like this, you can fall back into bad habits. You can fall back into old habits and not know it until you're like 2 weeks deep into the habit or a month deep, and you're like, oh shit, I'm doing the same thing again. I apologize. Make the apologies that you need to the people that you need to do them to, and then let's start from scratch again. And it's really hard not to sit in a comfort zone, not to, like I said, the past sort of dictate your present, which then in turn dictates your future. Like it's hard. And because it's hard, a lot of people are like, can't be asked. I'm like, okay, cool. But I don't understand why you wouldn't want to be a better person, why you wouldn't want to like progress and learn shit. Like I always say, like I didn't go to uni, but I go to the University of Life. Like life teaches me everything I need to know, because usually it picks up a brick and smacks me in the face with it and be like, Alex, you need to learn this, pal. And I'm like, oh, shit. Okay, maybe I do need to learn this. And like, too many people have too little experience and too little life lessons and then have kids. And what are you going to teach them? Hey, I don't know anything. I did really shit in school. Good luck. Go learn on the street. I was like, well, I don't know what I'd tell a kid. I got a couple stories and a couple life lessons to tell them, but like, I'm still figuring this shit out.
But good for you. I love that. Gosh, if more people were willing, you mentioned failure earlier, that you have to fail. I think a lot of people are just so scared of it. They're not willing to put themselves out there and learn. And I think if we were okay, if we were more accepting of ourselves to be less than perfect, which we all are 100%.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's where the learning comes from. That's where the life experience comes from.
I think it's from skill, because and the way society is kind of structured, because we praise the right answer, right? There's only one right answer. It's correct. You are correct. Good job. Well done. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, people get used to that praise, and people get used to that there's one way and one size fits all. Like there is one way of doing things. But like I said, I wasn't that great in school. Like I thought the answer was correct, and I'd get a lot of things wrong. I'll be like, oh, what do you mean? Like, I thought that was right. Like, that's the way I see it. Like, nah, Alex, that's wrong, mate. Like, 2 + 2 is not 27. You're like, oh, maybe, are you sure? Like,
Again, one more time.
yeah. So I think, like, getting used to coming up short ends up making the process of progression really addictive. Granted, it could go the other way because you just be like, nah, I'm never going to do this, blah, blah, blah. But if you're never going to do this, I would have stayed in Manchester. And, you look around and you see people that stay in Manchester and the west side that I grew up in. And I'm just like, it's not what I want. And this is not what I want for future generations. And the cycle continues. So why would I continue what they're doing already? Like, I have to do something different. And that's when you start opening your eyes to other things, right?
That's fantastic. Just that outlook. That's fantastic. That's a challenge to me. That was good.
You just got to find your people as well. I think like when you work on yourself and go a little bit internal and start figuring out like who you are, your people, as in people that would get along with you and vice versa, end up getting attracted to you and you get attracted to them. And I think like-minded people will always come together. Like, yeah, granted, your path might cross over to someone that you probably shouldn't have like met in the world, and you might end up doing something you probably shouldn't have, but these things happen. We all fuck up, get on with it, learn from it, deal with it. There's, like I said, it's always just it's a life lesson. Life is a life lesson. If that makes any sense.
Yes, all the time. You were all the time learning something.
Yeah, learn something new every day, right?
Yes, 100%.
All right. I really appreciate your time.
Yes, I appreciate yours, and I would love to do this again. I don't know how often you have like repeats on your podcast, but I really enjoyed this. This was great.
You can come back whenever you want.
Great. Well, let's
on.
do that then. For that.
Yeah, we'll get it. We'll get it in the diary. I'm going to be working with a school as well, so my time is kind of like changing week to week. So I like to get things in the diary for the next like 8 weeks. I think it is. I think it's 8 weeks. You should know what it is. No. I don't have to like plan my next 8 weeks, but I'm going to be with the school for the next 8 weeks, 8 to 10 weeks. So I just kind of need like a heads up. But other than that, I usually work from home. Like I have like a little garage gym that I coach out of. So
that's great.
Yeah. So usually I'm fine, but we'll get it in the diary.
Yeah, let's do that.
Perfect. You have a cracking day.
Get you like a nap today. I know I woke you up way too early, so get you a nap. I'm gonna go get a workout in and probably go to bed. So you do at least a nap before you start the rest of your day.
That's all right. I usually get up pretty early and then go to bed like dead early. Like I'm one of those ones.
Same.
My brain works in the morning. My body does not work in the morning. I cannot train in the morning. Holy shit. But then like my brain does not work in the evening. Like as soon as the sun starts setting or I've had an evening meal, I'm like redundant. Just don't talk to me. I'm useless.
Don't worry, I'm the same way.
All right, perfect. Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Right. Do what?
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Yes, you too. We'll talk to you soon.
See you later.